Hi guys, happy Friday. Don't know what's going on with my voice. It's quite annoying though, that's for sure. Okay, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Have you guys ever used that book? Anything? Spells out of it? Anything like that? No? Yes? Maybe? I really want to. I really need to get that book. So, we're going to just do a little overview of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Definitions, spells, what it means, its origin, all that good stuff. So, yes, it's going to be really, really fun. I love it. I do, anyway. So. Alright, so this is the Mystica.com. Again, love this site. There's so much information on here. You can literally spend like your entire day reading it. It's like a book. So, the definition of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Obviously, the great Egyptian funerary work called Pert em Her, properly meaning coming forth by day, or manifested in the light. So the work actually consists of collections of spells, which was believed to aid the dead in the crossing into the next life. But it's actually also a book on how we can live a better life. So it prepares us, which is very, very interesting. So, where'd I go? Oh, there are several versions or, renditions of the work, namely the Heliopolis, Thebes, and Salus. See, so each version is mainly the same, except for the differences found in the translations made by the colleges of priests at the various centers. So obviously it's been translated many times, and we probably don't have the exact or original. So there's probably a plethora of everything missing. I would not doubt. Alright, now, so, its theme is, wow, thaumaturgic, as its purpose to protect the dead from the dangers which they face when attempting to reach the other world. So, the spells were usually found on papyrus or leather in intimate association with the corpse. So beside it, in the coffin, actually inside the mummy wrappings, or inserted inside of a small statue of a funerary deity. That's pretty interesting. I like that idea. I like the concept. It's how I want to be actually buried. The Egyptian way, I do. So it is believed that many of the spells were recited by priests at the funeral, and also that their presence within the reach of the deceased made them available to him when he needed them. So, many papyrus sections from the Book of the Dead, as well as sections themselves, have been discovered inscribed on tombs, pyramids, and other ancient artifacts of Egypt. So, there's many versions, obviously, you all know that, so. Alright, origin. Ooh, speaking of, sorry, my ADD is, it's getting the best of me today. Speaking of, I don't know if anybody knows this, but at Dollar General, you can get Ouija and Ouija of Origins, 2 discs for $3.95. I don't have a DVD player, so I thought I would let you guys know that. Anyways, the origin and development of the Book of the Dead. That's cheap. $3.95 for a movie? 2 movies? And Ouija? Very cheap. I paid full price. But then again, I really wanted to support their work, styles-wise. So, alright, now. So the earliest examples of the Book of the Dead are from the 18th dynasty, so that's 1570 through 1304 BC. However, some sections of these examples have been found in earlier known Egyptian funerary texts, and they were called the pyramid texts, so inscribed on inner chamber walls of the 5th, 6th, and 8th dynasty rulers. Okay, now these pyramid texts ensured the survival only of the pharaoh whose name they contained and his subjects over whom he would rule in the hereafter, the afterlife. So, royal relatives and country quarters, who were granted favor to be buried in tombs surrounding the pyramid were perhaps fortunate enough to reach the realms of the blessed through the agency of the ruler. I love it. So until the final era of the Old Kingdom, which was 2664 through 2155 BC, before Christ, There is little knowledge of the funerary liturgy for the ordinary Egyptian, so his hope for survival is suggested by the fact from earliest times he was buried in a substantial grave, which his wealth would provide. So, in accompanying his body would be ornaments, weapons, food and beverage, clothing and cosmetics. So it was in the period of the Old Kingdom that the process of mummification was developed to improve the preservation of the body itself. And that, all the stuff that they put with you when you go, when you're buried and all that good stuff, it supposedly is, to take to the afterlife. But I mean, really, can we really honestly take that stuff to the afterlife? I think it's the energy, the essence of that object that we carry into the afterlife with us. Like when my grandma went, at her funeral, I put a picture of me with her, and I also put just some little, objects, rosary that she bought me, and a few other little things, just little message. So it was very nice to actually do that. And so I know that part of me is still with her, which is, I think, it's a really good connection. Anyways, alright, so where did I go? Now the coffin text, oh god, those are the ones that I like. I love the coffin text, the tomb, or the pyramid texts, and the coffin text. Oh my god, amazing. So, the coffin text, which are sections from the pyramid text, were found in coffins from the late 6th dynasty, 2341-2181 BC, until the Middle Kingdom, 2051 to 1756 BC. When coffins became mummy-shaped at the beginning of the 18th century, it was more convenient to set the incantations, and papyrus and the Book of the Dead proper began developing. So, there are discovered copies from all sequential periods of Egyptian history, with the latest being Roman in date. So, I love it. I love, because I do honestly believe that everything evolved or originated in Egypt. That's just my belief, so you guys don't have to believe that, but I do. Alright, so now the form. Most of the text of the Book of the Dead are arranged in vertical columns and are often written in simplified linear hieroglyphs, or an old-fashioned hieratic script. So a few late examples exist where the lines are horizontal in contemporary script. So I like the columns. That just, it's amazing. So sometimes plain black ink was used, but frequently the titles of spells and important words were written in red. Huh. What? Are you guys understanding what I'm thinking? The Bible. Jesus' words were in red. Obviously, for some odd reason, I don't know why. Evidently he spoke those words, which I highly doubt. So this, though, the Egyptians, I believe so much more. It's just amazing. So, illustrations could range from a few to many. They varied from plain black line drawings to beautiful drawings in lavish color. And that's what I love about it. I love it. I love this book. Have I said how much I love it? I do. So, now the spells that are contained in the book, the number and the order of spells varied greatly in the 18th and the 19th dynasty versions of the Book of the Dead, apparently on the command or wishes of the person commissioning the copy. Now by the Ptolemaic period, 320 to 322 BC, the number and order of the spells were standardized, and during the publication of the papyrus in the same time period, consecutive numbering of the spells was applied. Now the consecutive numbering continued as further spells were added, so there are presently over 200 spells, but not all are contained in any one discovered papyrus. So, now we have some concepts of the hereafter according to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which I love. So the various glimpses of the afterlife provided in Egyptian funerary literature give a very complicated and confusing picture. It's very complicated. It's very confusing. It's taken me many years to understand some of this, and I still don't understand it all. But it makes more sense. So, a New Kingdom book, 1554 to 1075 BC, entitled The Book of What is in the Netherworld, describes the hereafter as a subterranean region completely devoid of light during the day, So, and an area divided into 12 regions called a cavern, and ruled by a king whose subjects are spirits. So, the many sections are, connected by a great river, similar to the Nile. It's fucking interesting. I love this. I love this history of this stuff. So, along this river, during the night, sails a boat of the sun god, bringing light and joy to the dwellers of the underground regions. So, yeah, I love it. It's amazing. Now, the illustrations in chapter 110. There's 110 chapters in the Book of the Dead. I have to get this book. I have to get it in its entirety. I don't care if it's like this big. I want this fucking book. Alright, so, wow. So, okay, it depicts that chapter. Chapter 110 depicts the realm of Osiris, which was believed to be the 6th region of the hereafter. So it was known as the agricultural area, connected by canals. In one part was where several islands, and Osiris held court on one of them. It was the Hall of the Two Truths. The trails of the deceased were held. I think that would be trials. So if the deceased could prove his worthiness, he was ferried across the waters, where he could pursue a peaceful existence of plowing, reaping, and threshing. Okay, that's odd. Or having these things done for him by servants, who was bound to work for him at his request. That's a little different, right? Very different. So, they're selected spells now. So, after death, the Europeans, the Egyptians hoped to be free to return to the earth during the day, or be accepted as one of the blessed in the realm of Osiris. Now, the Book of the Dead contains a variety of hymns, magical formula, and litanies, incantation, prayers, and words of power, which clearly was to be recited when the intent of helping the deceased to overcome obstacles which might prevent him or her from achieving the above objectives. So we have spell 1b, for example, gives the body power to enter the hereafter immediately after burial. Translations are from T.G. Allen, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, documents in the Oriental Institute Museum at the University of Chicago. Very, very close to me. I want to go there now and take it. No, I'm joking. So as far as for one who knows this role on earth, or puts it in writing on his coffin, he goes forth by day in any form he wishes, and he enters his place again unhindered. So there are given to him bread and beer, and a chunk of meat from the altar of Ra, or Re. So he arrives at the field of the rushes, So, and barley, and wheat are given to him there. So he will, or shall be, thriving as he was on earth. That's very, very interesting. It does make perfect sense too. So spells 2 through 4 give the deceased the power to revisit the earth. That is what I like. So visit the gods and travel in the sky. Spell 6 binds the funerary statuette on which it was painted or carved to volunteer to perform any labors required of its master or mistress in the hereafter. Okay, so that's kind of like, calling up a spirit through like a pot. Where'd I go? Okay, spells 21 through 23 secured the help of several gods in opening the mouth of the deceased, enabling him to perform such functions as breathing and eating. Now, spell 25 restored the deceased's memory. 42 put every part of the body under the protection of a god or goddess. 43 protected the body from decapitation. 44 prevented the deceased from dying a second time, and 130 to 131 enabled to use the boats of sunrise and sunset. Very interesting. Oh my god. Yes. I love it. Alright, now, spell 154 has an address to Osiris by the deceased that partially said, I continue to exist, I continue to exist, alive, alive, enduring, enduring. I awake in peace, untroubled. I shall not perish yonder. My skull shall not suffer, my ear shall not become deaf, my head shall not leave my neck, my tongue shall not be taken, my hair shall not be cut off, my eyebrows shall not fall off. No harm shall happen to my corpse. It shall not pass away. It shall not perish from this land forever and ever. So there are very, very, very big similarities to certain other books. But we do know the Bible is not that old. There are older books. A lot older. Sorry guys, I could have a cigarette. Again. Remember, smoke that coronavirus away. Smokers are less likely to get the coronavirus. So I love smoking, that's why. No, I'm not encouraging anybody to smoke. Unless you're 18 and, yeah, or 21. Sorry, it's 21 now. So, yeah. Alright, now. Well, now where did I go? Okay, so yeah, you continue to exist in the afterlife. You don't perish, and you're, forever at peace. So that's what Osiris promises. So perhaps the best known chapter of the Book of the Dead is 125. Chapter 125? Well, I thought there was 110. So there's 125 chapters. Oh, Jesus. Containing the episode of Judgment. Okay, yeah, in the accompany vignette, Osiris is enthroned, usually on the left, facing 4 minor deities, including the underworld goddess Amun. So, who is depicted with the head of a crocodile, trunk and forelimbs of a lion, and the hind part of a hippopotamus, and has the responsibility of devouring the dead, who were found unworthy. Now, in the center is a great balance with the heart of the deceased in one pan, and a feather representing truth in the other. The gods Horus and Anubis check the balance, and Thoth records the results. So, to the right of the deceased is received by Mot, the goddess of truth. 42 deities sit in judgment around the halls of Amenti. So, that's so freaking interesting. I love it, I do, Anyways, so the deceased is required to make his own defense. He will first address Osiris in words that are part hymn and part spell. Then he recites a general declaration of innocence, which is a denial of various evildoings and breaches of ritual customs. So, for instance, I have not oppressed dependents. I have not caused anyone to go hungry. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not diminished the food offerings in the temples. I have not taken the cakes set aside for the blessed. I am pure. He does this to assure Osiris that he has lived a reasonably decent life on earth, or he knows the litany for declaring that he has, and that his body is complete and ritually pure. Basically, don't be a dick in life to other people. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What goes around comes around, and I'm not saying 3 times 3 karma crap with Wicca. So, but yeah, basically don't be an asshole. And, Okay, so next he begins addressing the 42 deities, denying various faults to each. So it is at this point in his trial that he could really triumph by speaking their secret names and places of origin, thus gaining control over them. Here he needs the powerful magic of the knowledge of the secret names and places of origins of Osiris and the other 42 deities. It's a lot of deities. The Egyptian pantheon has a ton of deities. Which I absolutely adore. I adore every deity in the Egyptian pantheon. It's amazing. So, alright. Lastly, the dead person addresses his heart, beseeching it not to bear witness against him. It is at this point in his trial that the deceased loses all control of his defense. So if the heart does not confirm the person's innocence, which really never happens in the vignette, the person is lost. But when the heart confirms the person's innocence, then Horus leads the individual before Osiris, who assigns the person a proper place in the realm of the blessed. So we have the realm of the blessed. Where's that at? Where's the realms of the blessed? Many different dimensions is kind of what I'm thinking. Alright, now we have just a little bit of a summary. So, it can be seen that according to the general outline of the Book of the Dead, that it was thought that even in the afterlife, the person still might scheme and course, or course, whatever, if he possessed the right knowledge. Such knowledge laid in the spells and hymns of the book, which a few was along with him, at least he would not forget them. So first he needed the knowledge to fight off the dangers, which he probably would face along his journey to the realm of the blessed. As in most Egyptian mythology, the dead would combat malignant spirits and other dangers. So also he needed the knowledge to influence or coerce the deities judging him at his trial in the Hall of Two Truths. So the work abounds with magical references. This is why many are of the opinion that the material in the work gives the conception that stipulation is mingled with the idea of circumvention by sorcery in the most extraordinary manner. Alright, now this was published, this first published translation is by E.A. Wallace Bouge, appeared in 1898, and it was reissued as a second edition by Routledge and Kegan Paul, London, in 1969. Now other editions were put out by University Books, New York, 1960, Dover Publications, New York, 1967, and Causeway Books, New York, 1975. So that's really, really, really interesting. I love the Book of the Dead. I really do. I wish there was a lot more in here about, like, the coffin text, but there's not. I guess we just have to find those ourselves. Yeah, we're gonna have to find those ourselves. Because I'm not finding anything else, but I love this. It seriously is amazing. So, what do you guys think? I'm like, what do you guys think? Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I love it. Everything Egyptian I love. So, but alright guys, what do you guys have planned for this weekend? Anything fun? No? Me either. So I swear they're going to extend this stay-at-home order for another month. It's ridiculous. But alright guys, I love you all very much. I'll see you all tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow, not today. I have to take my dog to the vet. He's got an ear infection, poor guy. And I love you all. And everybody have a good day. Stay safe, stay healthy. All my love to you all. All the way from Venus, all the way back down. There we go. I love you guys very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And welcome all the new people. I love you too. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow.